Good morning. It's Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. I'm Russell, and this is Rocky Road Devotions, a few minutes of help for today's journey. Our devotion today is entitled, Let My People Go, and our scripture is Exodus chapter 5. After this presentation to Israel's leaders, Moses and Aaron went and spoke to Pharaoh. They told him, This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go so they may hold a festival in my honor in the wilderness. Is that so? Retorted Pharaoh. And who is the Lord? Why should I listen to him and let Israel go? I don't know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go. If you've hung around God's people for a minute or two, you've heard how Israel was in bondage to the Egyptians, and God sent Moses to lead them away from slavery to the Promised Land. If you're a believer, you've also probably shaken your head over the way Pharaoh was so hard-hearted and hard-headed. These two scripture verses give us God's heavenly understanding about why Pharaoh was so cruel, and why people of all generations do such mean stuff. The bottom line of it all is when God said through Moses, Let my people go. Pharaoh answered with that defiant scowl, Is that so? Why should I listen? I don't know the Lord, and I won't let Israel go. Pharaoh wouldn't listen or obey because he had no clue who he was dealing with or the consequences. The psalmist understood this well, Psalm chapter 2. Why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? The kings of the earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot against the Lord and against his anointed one. Let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from slavery to God. But the one who rules in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. Then in anger he rebukes them, terrifying them with his fierce fury. I've known some angry and violent people, a few who directed that hostility toward me. I've looked into the defiant eyes of those who would have taken my head off with little or no remorse. I've seen hatred which I could only describe as demonic. Now, I'm not an exorcist. I don't even like movies that deal with that stuff. But I've seen too much to deny that spiritual evil is real. One such violent man was part of my life during early ministry days. After wreaking havoc on our church for a few months, his alcoholic stupor and violence ended with him committing suicide in a police standoff. Now, I'm no psychiatrist, but this was more than booze, much more than angst over life's smaller questions. This was a man who had shaken his fist at God for so long, so angry. That anger led him to the brink of despair, and finally, over that brink, into the abyss. His last act of pulling the trigger was desperation, the mark of one who had lost all hope. Why do the heathen rage? Why are the nations angry? Why is life filled with such an absence, a void, a tasteless treadmill of nothing? Well, let's do the math. It's entirely the lack of knowing the Lord. Pharaoh wasn't the only one. Name any serial killer in history. Start with Cain. Make your way through Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and all the conquerors of history, Alexander the Great, Attila the Hun, Stalin, Hitler, Tojo, and others. What is the thread that binds all that violent behavior? They didn't know the Lord of heaven. They would not bow before anyone but their own thrones. Knowing the Lord is more than knowing about God. Rather, it's a personal relationship of friendship based on understanding God's love and responding appropriately. Cain is the chief poor example. When he killed his brother out of envy, God's love for Abel was assaulted, and God's love for Cain held him responsible. Genesis chapter 4, verse 7. You will be accepted if you do what is right, but if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you. For you today, let's finish Moses' words. Let my people go to worship God. You chew on that as you hit the rocky road. Have a blessed day.